All right. Hello, astrology lovers. My name is Amanda Poole Walsh. For those of you who don't know me, I am the CEO and co-founder of Astrology Hub. It is so wonderful to be here with you today, and very, very wonderful to be here with Julija Simas. Julija is Agent 12. I love that. I actually kind of want you to tell us why, Agent 12. From the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. And she today is going to be covering many things. We're mainly focused on the eclipse, but one of the things we want to talk about first is why we don't need to be anxious and fearful about the upcoming eclipse. She is going to really cut through a lot of the hype and talk about some of the hot air that has been coming up and surrounding this eclipse. So, Julija, it is such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Amanda.
All right. So tell us about finding trustworthy sources for information and what you've seen out there that is a little bit disturbing for you.
Yeah, when we had our quick chat before coming on, I'm thinking about what we'll talk about, what the take is for us today, and I mean, as someone that spends a lot of time on social media or looking at the trends or what's going on with astrology, that type of thing, because I feel the job of the CIA, we've got such a big following, we have to keep it up there and alive and have good information flowing. So, but what I do see is a lot of, again, a lot of astrologers will say this, there's a lot of hype about the eclipses, there's people get fearful about that, and I get a lot of questions or private emails about people in quite distress going, what does it mean for me? And I've got this happening on my ascendant, and I've got this happening on my part of death, and what's coming up about that is they have no idea what the part of death means. They've maybe read a little bit about that, but don't know enough to actually or get a reading to sort of fill it up and say, it's okay, you're not going to die. And that really sort of just alerted me to the fact of what astrology has done with its social media reach. Like, we're all culprits in that sense. We're all running websites and blogs and putting out the information out there. And then it really depends on how people are picking it up, at what level of astrology that they know either what to take in or what not to take in. So although eclipses will affect all of us somehow on different levels, they're not going to be as extreme for all of us as well. So this is what we've got to know. I mean, again, we've opened the doors to many people to invite them to look at their own astrology, to understand their charts, to get to know their astrology. And that is a good thing. That is a great thing. But on the other hand, there's just so much information that they don't know how to deal with. I mean, I remember this was the case, like, I think for a lot of us, we start astrology. It happened to me. I was so into it. I read lots and lots of books over years. And then I realized, you know what? There's something I can't put together myself. I need a mentor. I need to be taught properly. So I started studying right from the beginning, because I was, of the fervor that I needed to know more. I need to know this from the bottom up. Yeah. And this is what we're not getting with a lot of people. They're teaching themselves. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but having said that, there's a lot of rubbish out there. And I've been following that rubbish because I'm going, what are these people getting away with? Now, if you think about big websites with a lot of traffic and stuff, what are they always looking for? Something that will get them a lot of traffic, okay? Right. Now, of course, what is an eclipse? It's something that's going to get the website a lot of traffic. And of course,
Julia, especially if you focus on the fear part of it, especially if you focus on the doom and gloom part, that's really going to get
fear mongering has been around for a long time, hasn't it, with astrology? Like, if we're going to tell you you're all going to die in 12 months, then everyone wants to know. Right. It's an interesting thing, because this eclipse series is, I'm sure that the other astrologers you've had on have talked about it, the Saros series 145. Yeah. And 145 was alive also in 1999. And what was happening in 99 was what we're all fearing the year 2000. right? You know, like the hype
True.
of 2000.
Yeah.
So there's something alarmist about this series of eclipses, I think. And it was really interesting. It made me look into when this Saros series started, and it started in 1639. And when I looked at the astrology of that eclipse that started this whole series, it had Eris conjunct the South Node in Gemini. So what that told me was like, yeah, it's quite alarmist, this eclipse series somehow. And I'm not saying that there's no need to be alarmed about it, because things are shifting in America. You know, we know that. And what we've got to look at is, you know, instead of looking at what is going to happen, just know it's already happening.
Right.
It's happening.
Exactly.
The awareness to what's going on, that the wrong president is, you know, is representing us, and all that type of thing to a lot of people. It's happening. So from the happening is what the next part is created. So understanding that we're right in the chaos, and we're creating from the chaos all the time. So
Exactly.
It's not like wait to see what happens. It's happening. It's
Exactly.
happening right now. We're in eclipse season. You know, we're here. We're here, and we're here.
Yeah, no, and I think many people tuning in can probably feel that already and understand that already. So it's, yeah, it's not like August 21st is going to happen in some big bang, you know, something. Yeah. Julija, what advice do you have to people who are out there searching? Because what do? You know, you don't feel good, your throat hurts. It's like you Google, or something happens to your child, you Google. So this is what people are doing. And you're right, there are those big sites that are very good at, you know, the search engine optimization and making sure that they're going to be the ones that pop up when you do that. So what would you say to help people to make sure that they're tuning into trustworthy resources, or, you know, like you said, rubbish? There's a bunch of rubbish out there. How can they differentiate?
Well, first of all, make sure it's written by somebody, right? A name associated with. I'm very, very doubtful about websites that do not put a name to who has written the information. Okay. Now, when there's a name associated, like if it's an astrologer's website, you know, Wendy Smith or whatever, then we know it's Wendy that's written it. That's okay. But especially on these bigger websites that, you know, they could have all sorts of very intriguing names, like, you know, Expanded Living, and, you know, I don't want to mention any names because I'll probably say some of the wrong ones, which are actually good. But, you know, like there's so many names that sound like they would have the right information, right? But they're written by robots. And the way you can tell is, I came across this the other day when it was posted in a mundane astrology thread. And I looked at it, and it was something that said, you know, Libra and Aquarius, and there was one other sign. These are the wisest signs. So, you know, I looked through it, and I'm going, you know, in a way, I mean, astrology can be written. There could be a reason that we'd say Libra is the wisest sign. It's ruled by Saturn, you know, whatever. There might be an argument towards this type of thing. But you look at it, it has no credentials, no backup to why it says this. It just wants to get the Libras and the Aquariuses to the site, right?
Yes.
And then you look at it, it's not even written by a name, and you click on the whatever link that's supposed to be written by. It's not even a person, it's a robot. And again, the page is full of ads. Okay, it's clickbait. It's astrological clickbait. And I know there's a lot of big websites that carry astrologers now, which is fantastic. So if you are an astrologer or writing astrology, I think people need to know not so much your credentials, but that you, like I tell my students, you know, studying with Julija from the CIA, because, you know, maybe they've been doing it for a few years or whatever, or finish studies. A lot of us in our own community know each other. We know who's doing what. We go to conferences and all that kind of stuff. But on the outside, you know, that's what I suggest to people. Know your backup, know your sources, who you're listening to. You know, reputable websites, because there's a lot of rubbish out there and people follow it because it just speaks to them somehow. And astrology can do that because it's got a magical quality to it that it can just, you know, lock you in. It can take you in. It says something about Libra and you're a Libra and you go, oh, I got to know.
Right.
But in the end, it's complete rubbish. So there was another one about kissing, you know, which signs are the best sex. I
Oh,
mean,
those are all over the place. Yeah.
as we know, it's all the combination of the astrology. It's not just about your sun sign. We have moved away from just sun sign astrology, although it does retain some amazing qualities. Like I've been sick for the last week. I'm a Pisces, and just with sun sign astrology, the eclipse is happening in my 6th house. So yeah, you know, it still works. Like, I'm not saying sun sign astrology is not relevant. It's actually quite magical, and all of astrology is. But it's just knowing our sources. I think, and so those of us that have got good astrology, you know, agents or people and very good astrologers out there, and even the ones that are learning and stuff, that's fine. But know your sources, because again, we're getting hoodwinked like everywhere else in this, you know, clickbait world, soundbite sort of stuff. And it does us a disservice as well. So we've got to stick up for ourselves that way, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know it's really interesting for me. The more I learn about astrology, the more I understand how complex and rich and nuanced it is, the less I am likely to even give a snippet of my opinion about someone's chart or something. It's like, you know what, this is complex. The way that all these pieces move together, you know, it's easy to do though when you're learning to just
do it with your friends, because
yeah.
with your friends you can sort of back it up, and you say, oh, you know, I've got another thought about that, or whatever. So we all encourage that kind of interaction with friends and that type of thing, so that you can learn from that. And that's the only way you're going to get confidence to practice astrology. But again, to think that, I mean, it's just got my goat in a sense, because there's a lot of us that do teach astrology from the ground up, for a reason, because you've got to get the fundamentals right, and to sort of think that, you know, Libra is the best kisser, or, I mean, again, a lot of it's entertainment, it's a lot of it's
just for fun. Yeah. And
you know, but
then it's just fun. Yeah.
And so you know, I'm not saying it can't be entertaining or fun, but it does put people on the wrong steps. And so we want people to, you know, to get the right information to start with. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear from the audience if anybody has any ways that they work with all the different kinds of information online. If they have any tips that they want to share, please do that. I mean, for me, I can usually feel like this feels flimsy, or this feels substantial. And this, you know, this feels like they're just trying to get me to buy something, or this feels like, you know, there's actual value here, and there's some quality behind it. So, you know, and everybody probably has their own way of differentiating, but yeah, and especially I would say this is especially relevant about the eclipse. And that's why we've been so careful about the angle and the quality of astrologers that we're bringing on to guide this conversation, because it is a very easy trap to go into the whole, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world kind of conversation. And it's just, it's not helpful, you know. So that has been a very clear intention for us. So hopefully all of you have been able to feel that with the type of people that we've had on and the kind of conversations we're having, which I would love to hear, Julija, your perspective on the upcoming eclipse and what you feel this might mean for, let's start with the United States. And I know you sort of already mentioned, you know, we're already in it, but if there's anything else that you wanted to bring up about how this eclipse is particularly affecting the United States, that'd be great to hear.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing, and it's looking at, you know, this eclipse season and what the most relevant sort of astrological aspects are happening at this time, and it's the grand fire trine. You know, it's a grand fire trine of, again, a lot of hot air, a lot of hype. A lot of what's going to happen to Donald Trump. It is, you know, the second eclipse, or the solar eclipse, of course, the important eclipse, sorry, for you Americans, is on his Mars. Okay, so it really shows up. It's a spotlight on him. It shows up the angry man he is. He's not happy. He doesn't look like he's happy doing his job. That's for sure, does he?
No.
And this is from an outsider. I mean, we do see it, and I'm sure a lot of you do as well. It's like a cartoon show coming to life.
Oh, man. Oh, so you're all
and
very,
then we go, is this real? Is this really happening?
I know. I know. Well, many of us within the country are asking the same question, but I can only imagine how it appears from the outside. It's like, wow, it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. So I think it's like, have a look and go, well, how did we get here? How could this happen? Okay, and I suppose as a future vision is like, we've got to make sure this doesn't happen again. We know that, let's say, I'm going to just say the same people were voting for Bernie, right? And wanted Bernie to be on, and that got really close. So there's a look, an outlook to go, this can happen now. Like, it had to happen. It was the thing that we saw that had to happen, because so it wouldn't happen again. Let's hope so. I mean, I don't know. So, but again, with all this hot air, with all this fire energy, we are future orientated. We are looking ahead to the future. And of course, Aquarius is the south node. So the lunar eclipse is of course the moon in Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about the future vision as well. So we've got Saturn in Sagittarius. It's actually conjunct Black Moon Lilith, which is really quite significant in Sagittarius, and we're going to actually do a live webinar on this topic with one of our agents in Brazil, Vanessa, who's amazingly done a lot of work with Black Moon Lilith. And she earlier in the year, we talked about Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, and she's got a real bent of being civilly disobedient, okay, in order to, rise up the what the population wants. Is like I don't want to advocate that we all, well, in a way, I see this as well. What are we going to do? What can we do? We're in this trap of being sheep. We're just, doing what's always been done, although we've tried, and then people like Julian Assange get locked up, and we're still under the radar and being, worked on. Pluto is in Capricorn. There's a lot still to uncover. There's still a lot to be done. There's still a lot to be, accounted for in what's happening in the world. And what's happening at the moment is Jupiter is squaring that Pluto. So it's like, again, what do we believe about the future? What can be done? It's got to be done differently. It's not in the same way that has been done all this time as well. And again, that's all the hot air is all about that. It's rising up the ideas. Fire is about ideas. Fire and air is about ideas and circulating ideas and vision. So we probably won't see any kind of grounding from that until we get Uranus in where is he going? Taurus next year. So it's kind of around the corner. I see the after effects of this eclipse will come when there's the grounding. There's more of a grounding that comes.
When exactly is that, Julija?
I think it's May next year for Uranus to go into Taurus.
So this time more about things coming up to the surface and ideas circulating about what we can do about it, but actual tangible action maybe not happening until
we're going to still see the angry Trump going around doing his thing. I mean, one thing we know about eclipses is that they get triggered after, depending on planets moving past those degrees at certain times of the year. I think there's a few in September, like Mars will pass that degree. I can't remember now, something else. And then also when the sun squares those points. Okay, so the moon can be a trigger. So when the moon squares the nodal axis again, and when the sun squares the nodal axis, which will be end of October. So they're their highlight times. And then again, when the eclipses happen again next February. So they're all related. It's about the time, it's not just one isolated event that is leading to the 21st of August over America.
Okay, so Ava asks, the lunar eclipse on August 7th, anything that we need to know about that from your opinion?
Well, that highlights the Aquarian zone, doesn't it? It highlights the Aquarius. So, I mean, for everybody that has planets around 15, 16 degrees, let's start with the lunar eclipse, we're looking at the fixed angle. So Taurus and Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, they're the ones that are going to be most affected by that. So you know, if you have the ascendant, the midheaven, the descendant, or the angles, they're very much important in that. And then otherwise, of course, if you've got planets at those degrees, they're going, you know, these are the people that will be most affected by it. Although all of us have got Leo Aquarius somewhere, haven't we? So I don't have any planets in my Leo zone, but I have, you know, I'm having eclipses there now. So it's a highlight time, but those with planets there are going to get the biggest effects from that. So again, as much as it's happening to all of us personally, it will be, you need to know your own astrology chart to sort of know if you've got planets in those, around those degrees.
And the lunar eclipse at 15 degrees, right? Is that right?
Yeah, 15.
So if you have 14, 15, or 16,
yeah.
you'd want to be paying attention to that.
Yeah, and you can do wider orbs as well. Now, the thing about eclipses is, again, they happen twice a year in seasons. So sometimes we can have up to 6 eclipses a year, sometimes 4, sometimes only 2. 2 is rare, I think, though. So to know that they're always happening always happening, so we don't have a year without them. Right. But to clue into the eclipses that are going to affect you the most is to know the eclipses around your birth time. Okay, so to know the eclipses that you were born into. Now that takes a lot more study. There's a lot more information about that, and it's probably too much to go into here. But, there's 2 kinds of eclipses. As I was talking at the beginning, there's the Saros family that this eclipse is 145 that's born into. So those that are around 36 years old or 54 or 18 are going to be feeling that eclipse a lot more, okay? And then anyone else that has got, as I was talking about the degrees that set off those eclipses, we all need to do our own research. What happened to me 18 years ago? What was happening for me in 1999 is going to give me a clue about this eclipse series. Okay, so we're looking at 2 cycles with eclipses, 19-year cycle and 18-year cycle. So really 98 and 99, all right? And then even the halfway points when the nodes were reversed. So 9-year cycles after that. Sorry, my phone's ringing. In 2009. Is it 2009? 2008, 2009. Have a look, because those zones were highlighted then as well. And, if you go, oh, it was a great year, then expect some more great stuff. It's not all bad. All right?
Yeah, so Julia, I can still hear you, but your screen is frozen for me. Is that true for everyone else? Your screen's frozen.
I can see you still.
Okay, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Okay, so we talked about the lunar eclipse. We talked and how people can figure out if that's going to be affecting them.
Still frozen? Sorry, is it still frozen?
It is, yeah.
Very strange. Ooh.
Okay, yeah, and my team is also saying that it's still frozen. So I don't know, but I mean, we can hear you okay, so I think it's okay.
Okay, all right. It's the Mercury retrograde shadow. It's already
gosh.
started.
I know, that's amazing. And of course, we're going to be doing so much live broadcasting for this eclipse, so this will be a really interesting time. Oh, there you are. You're back, I think. Okay, now I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, okay, now I can hear you. All right. I think you're back. Okay, so Julia, how it's going to affect us personally, the August eclipse, the hot air around the solar eclipse, anything else that and then how you think that the energy is actually not going to ground until May of next year.
Well, it's like, again, all this hot air, all this hype, it's there for a reason, so we can work out the things of where we're heading, all right? And especially because of this grand trine, Saturn in Sagittarius, it's about, what vision do we have? What are we building next, right? Saturn going into Capricorn at the end of the year. Sorry, it actually starts earlier. Saturn will go into Capricorn. Uranus will go into Taurus. At the moment, we've got this, this fire energy, which then the eclipse highlights, especially the 28-degree one, the solar eclipse. Right. And so, when that all shifts into Earth, we get more of a grounding of what this whole hot air business has been all about, you know.
Definitely. Well, and don't you find, I mean, so I always think of things in terms of like a hologram or sort of like the microcosm and the macrocosm. And so with the eclipse, our shadow is being illuminated, right? Like what's
Yes.
under the surface. And the truth is, anyone that's been through these types of experiences in their own personal life, you know that sometimes all of that, you know, sort of darker, shadowy, or the things that aren't working, it needs to come to the surface
Yeah.
first before we can actually start working on a new vision for our
Yeah.
lives. You know, we can't,
Mm.
you know, what do they say? Put lipstick on a pig. And then, you know, it's like, we need to actually like get to the bottom of things and
Mm.
see what's there
Mm.
and then go forward from a new place. So when you said
Mm.
it's all happening and it's happening, there's a purpose behind it and it's all useful. And so if we know that while we're going through the process, then it can be less anxiety
Yeah.
provoking
Yeah,
for
yeah.
people.
I mean, we say that to like the individual all the time
Exactly.
when we see their, you know, astrology chart, and it's like, you're here, you're in this right now, this is the process. So as a collective, yes,
Same.
think of it, if you're going through the whole process of this change, which has got more to the story, of course, because Pluto's just really in the middle of Capricorn. It's still got a lot of years to go. And I mean, thinking about Pluto in Capricorn, you know, the bigger picture stuff, again, when we look at collective, let's say, cycles in astrology, we're looking at the outer planets and, you know, they move a lot slower and stuff. So, you know, the big corporate world has built America. And it's rotten, sorry, but a lot of it's rotten to the core. It's led by banks. You know, the awareness that we have found over the last, I think 2012 was very much the focus of the opening to the awareness. And now we're living the after effects, which are going to reverberate for a long time. That was just the focus point. We've got 2020 coming up with Jupiter, Saturn, Ceres, Pluto, all line up in Capricorn. Okay. And this is now, I keep calling it the 2020 vision we've got to keep our eyes on.
Right.
All right. This is there's always longer cycles that we've got to keep our eye on. That's big. So I think, again, now we've got to think about, what do we want to build? Where are we heading, and what can we work towards building, you know? And you know, that's not an easy answer, of course, but I was very inspired by, just recently I came across, I don't know if you know the Cathedral Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. It's an amazing building it's still being built, and it's taken 130 years to build so far, right? Now, I know it's a cathedral and it's a temple of worship for, you know, the Catholic Church and stuff, but when I looked at the astrology chart of when the first brick was laid, it had like 5 planets in Taurus, of Jupiter, of Pluto, of Saturn, of Neptune. And I just went, wow, that's incredible. But what that kind of gave me this insight into, okay, what are we building? We've got to have a vision, and we know that we have to move away from these societies that are run by the banks. Sorry, but that's the reality of it, but we don't know how to do it yet. Okay. We're not going to trust a new regime, the Bitcoin or whatever it is. You know, there's so many things opening up, and this is going to be the image of Saturn and Jupiter new cycle in Aquarius, which is, you know, a cashless money system. I mean, we might be afraid of it, but it might alleviate this heaviness on our resources on the planet.
So Julia, you think that kind of a shift is possible that soon? Like 2020?
No, it's going to be the herald of the beginning of that. Like a seeding moment is just the beginning. Okay?
2020? Is that what you're talking to?
Yeah, it's a new beginning. It's a new beginning in that corporate sense. Okay,
Right.
So I'm just trying to think when that kind of combination of planets in Capricorn happened. I mean, it would have only been, you know, in 248-year cycles, because we want Pluto to be there, right? Anyway, so it's another big complicated story, but we know that that's the big thing ahead for the astrological cycles is 2020. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I remember in our 2017 forecast, Maurice Fernandez was talking about how this period of time is a time to make sure that your principles, your integrity, your vision is as aligned as possible, because
Yeah.
anything built on a shaky foundation right now
Hmm.
is going to crumble, in that
Hmm.
2020 sort of time
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah.
So that, to me,
Yeah.
that like really, people say things and certain things just like jump out. It's like that's an amazing reminder just to make sure that we are as aligned as possible with our hearts and with our truth and with what's authentic to us, and that we're bringing that forth into the world. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
anything we're doing just for money, or we're doing just for power or status or whatever, those are the kinds of things that aren't going to last.
Yeah. Well, they are pretty powerful though. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to sort of sugarcoat it to sort of think, it can easily go away. It's
Right.
crumbling, but how quickly is that going to shift for us? I don't know. I don't know. But although again, let's say more aware, enlightened people, we want to live in a better world. We want to live in a fairer world. We want to live. We know that there's enough resources for everyone to share. We hate to see poverty and destruction and all that kind of stuff. So why is it still happening? And it's us people. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal at all. I'm just we want to see those type of things happen in the world. And one of the things that really comes up strong as a good saying for this hot air is, and I've heard Caroline Casey saying this for various other things, although I'm not sure that she's the first one to say it, because I went kind of Googling and going, although it's too simple to sort of think one person said it. And it's very Aquarius: cool head, warm heart, Leo.
Mm,
Okay. But what we've got is we've got the leaders with cold hearts and hot heads. you know, they really
right.
just care about what they're doing. Okay. So we've got to be the people with cool heads and warm hearts. And that's probably a really good message for this eclipse as well. Like, keep it cool, have love in your heart. What can really go wrong, in that sort of sense, and get away from the hype. It's not going to stop. The media has got a lot to answer for in the way they promote stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
absolutely.
we've got our own media channels now, haven't we? So
Exactly. That's the best thing ever. And I was saying on a Facebook Live the other day, like, I don't even go to my Facebook feed anymore. I just go
yeah,
right into my groups. I go right into things. It's
you've got a
cool.
lot of people to connect to. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's just that's what I'm interested in. I don't want to see the noise,
Yeah.
anything else. I want to go to the places where I know that I resonate with the people and I resonate with the message, and that's where I go. But yeah, that's the beauty of this time, is that we can create these networks and we
Yeah.
can talk about the things we want to talk about in the way the
Yeah.
way we want to respond to things. And okay, so Yulia, we have some great questions coming in from the
Okay.
audience. So I wanted to ask you a few of them. Um, Beth Ann asks, would you say that this eclipse season in particular supports our spiritual transformation?
Well, again, for somebody that's going to have an eclipse in the 12th house, definitely, but not, I mean, all eclipses have got that potential. If we're, let's say, tuning into the cosmic cycles as you're here, you're interested. So yes, you are. Of course, every eclipse can be a next, evolutionary step, definitely. For your own development, for your own evolution, what you're aware of right now, what you've learnt, what you've absorbed, and what you can do with that now. And so solar eclipses are very potent seed times for that, because it's the sun and the moon starting a new cycle, and it's the coming together of the sun and the moon in this blackening out of the sun is a really deep seed. This is the time to plant that new seed. So if you are moving towards more spiritual and growth in your own life, make this a potent time for that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It will happen to us. Let's say, I think astrology or the cosmic cycles affect us without us doing anything, right? But the more that we are on top of it and intending our work, then of course we're much more focused on it, and it's more effective, definitely.
100%. Yeah. And I'll
Yeah.
talk about this at the end, but that is exactly why we are doing the Global Eclipse Meditation event. 14 days of meditation. We're going to be, each person will have the opportunity to connect in with their vision, with their spiritual path, with their spiritual growth, with their contribution, what they want to bring forward to the world. And we'll have 14 days of that in a row. So anyone who wants to really harness the energy for their spiritual transformation, we can do that. I mean, we can choose to do that in every moment, but for me, it's like, let's use if the media might use the hype to bring up fear, let's use the hype to bring forth love and to bring forth intention and vision for the planet, because we have that choice. So, so we will be talking about that. If you want, it's a free event, and we want as many people across the globe to join us. And it is free, but if you want to purchase the recordings, you can do that. And 100% of the profits from this event are going to go towards teaching children how to meditate. So there's a nonprofit organization called Ivy Child, and they're focused on teaching children how to meditate and do yoga and do all these things that help them, these children, to connect in with their higher guidance and their internal system, which to me, when you said, Julia, that we're sheep right now, that's true. I mean, we have been sheep for a very long time. So for me, I feel very passionate about giving our children the opportunity to not do that, to be able to think for themselves, to be able to make decisions, to not be so easily bought or swayed, to have that internal place where they go to check in and say, is this right for me or is this not right for me? And would this be good for the planet or not good for the planet? So that's a little bit about the event. If you would like to join us, anyone that's tuned in right now, you can. We're putting the link for the registration in the chat and also above in the description of this talk. But okay, so that was the question from Beth Ann. I love that question. Okay, so Ellen asks, what are the positive aspects of the solar eclipse happening conjunct Regulus? So there has been, a lot of focus on this Regulus conjunction. So can you talk about your perspective about what
we're looking for new leaders, definitely. That's how I see it. Because Regulus
leaders, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Where are the new leaders? Where are you? Please come down now. Because we're seeing how some of the leaders in the world are just doing so it's a highlight on our leaders.
Yeah.
The Regulus, the royal star associated with kings. We don't have that many kings now, but we've got presidents that represent that archetype. But Regulus is in Virgo now, and it has been since 2011. So I remember writing about this because I was so interested in it. I remember Michael Luton wrote Kings in Rags, right? Regulus in Virgo, it's Kings in Rags now, perfect. It's also in Virgo, we have, so Regulus in Leo has been the last 2,500 years, kings, monarchs, rulers, gold, using the playground, the earth as the resources for what they want. Now, we're just freshly into Regulus in Virgo. And that's 2,500 years of cleaning up, I think. So, hopefully it doesn't take that long, but it's almost like it's the leveler. Regulus in Virgo is everybody can be a hero. I was getting together a talk that I'll do for the CIA on Thursday, and, as summing up these eclipses, and of course the eclipse being on Regulus, is we can be heroes. We are the heroes we are waiting for. Let's not put it all to them, okay? My favorite song is, Heroes by David Bowie. So that's kind of my mantra for this. Like, we are the heroes and we can all do a heroic job. This is Leo, the North Node, we can be those heroes, and in a Virgo way now. In the Virgo way, because we're in this together. We're in the soup together, and, everyone can be special doing a special job. Some of you might not know what that is now. I do have a special job. I'm very grateful for this wonderful job I've given myself, really. But that's what you got to do, And same for yourself, Amanda. You've taken up astrology, you love it, and you want to do something more with it. So again, it's very open. It's more open than you think to a lot of these people, what we can do.
Absolutely.
Just working in our own worlds. I mean, in a way, it's almost like, yeah, that's going to keep happening for that long, but it's the grassroots rise up. Let's just do it quietly. And that's the other Virgo thing. So also very agent thing. We can do things that they're not aware of. Just kidding. Sorry. But yeah, it's very true. So that's Regulus in Virgo to me.
I love that. You know, I have another project I'm working on called, it's a servant leadership summit. And I don't know if you've heard of Ken Blanchard, but he's a big management guru. He's just this dear man. He's amazing. And it's based on a book called Servant Leadership in Action. But the interesting thing to me is I said yes to doing that project long before I knew what this eclipse was about. And so for me to hear what you're saying about, you know, each one of us having that the leadership role that we're playing in our lives. And so I've been doing, you know, 20 interviews that are all pre-recorded with people who are servant leaders in their organizations. And the amazing thing is how effective it is. I mean, you know, it's not just this nice, sweet idea. It actually works. You know, when people lead from their heart, it actually, it makes a difference in everybody's lives. It makes a difference in the quality of what's put out into the world. And so it's a win-win-win on every level. So I think that's, you know, something for us all to keep in mind too, is that this in servant leadership, the idea is like, you know, right now the pyramid in the organization, it's all about serving the leader, right? But you flip that upside down and it's all about serving the people, and it's all about, you know, serving the people within the organization, outside of the organization. It's all about the leader as someone who's there to serve and support, not to be served. So it's so simple. You know, half the time I'm sitting on these calls
take the lead. It's like we all take the lead, you know. It's such a shonky job. So I mean, it's work together, take the lead, just make things happen. You know, we see it all the time. So believe in that. I think that's the shift that's still happening. I mean, it's not finite. It's not happening, you know, it's happening around us. It's going to continue to happen. You know, later down the track, you know, again, it's far away, but we've got to believe in that now, and that's what we're doing. So
Yep. Okay, Julija, Linda asks, do the houses tell each of us how we will be affected by the eclipse?
Yeah, well, of course, the houses make it personal. That's where it brings down your personal experience of the eclipse, okay? So we've all got Leo somewhere, and we've all got it in a particular house. So, you know, if it's in your first house, it's going to have something to do with you, you know, attuning more to your self-confidence, the way you look, the way you are in the world, you know, your confidence into the world. If it's in your second house, it's going to be related to what you value, and perhaps money or feeling undervalued. Like, it's always the opposite is there too. You know, where do I might be feeling undervalued in my relationship, in my work, in my family, in my career. You know, it will show up in many different ways. If it's in your 10th house, it's a career thing. You know, maybe it's time to leave that job. Maybe it is a promotion coming up. Maybe you have to, you know, again, there's so many other things that come into the picture. You know, with Mercury retrograde for all of us, you know, during this eclipse times, it's going back on something we meant to do before. You know, usually, you know, that's a retrograde. It's like, hang on, this is the time now to act on this, or to say it. It's Mercury. It's going to come out. It's got to come out. You know, I can't, and eclipses will bring it out. You know, often if we're not ahead of the change that is, let's say, being asked for us, it will happen from the outside. So it's always better to be one step ahead, isn't it, than be caught by surprise.
Absolutely. All right, Julija, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to leave the audience with? Anything?
Well, I mean, just tune into the CIA. We're doing a lot more live stuff as well. It's the way to go on Facebook these days, because, you know, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we've got all this big following, but Facebook's not so friendly sometimes with reach, but they love live. So, so we're doing more live because, you know, we know you're out there somewhere. And yeah, just, you know, follow the CIA. We have, oh God, what have we got going on? Find yourself a mentor. if you're very serious about wanting to know more astrology, even if it's like, connect to them every 2 months because you're, again, getting all this information from all over the place, get a session with someone, that you like to just tune up for you now and then. I really advise that because, again, it can be so all over the place. Yeah. And we don't want the anxiety and the hysteria of, you don't understand it enough, perhaps, if you're just, open the box to astrology. And so you need to sort of, you need to know the right things about it as well as go exploring. So it's an incredible journey. Enjoy it, everybody. And we're here, just again, there's many great astrologers that are here for all of us to back it up, so to speak.
Yeah. And isn't it just kind of human nature when we don't understand something, we fear it. So yeah, I love that you have mentorship programs and things like that. That's fantastic.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So check out Julija and the Cosmic Intelligence Agency, just one of the best names ever. And then, like I said, if you would like to join us for the Global Eclipse Meditation, registration's open. It's completely free. Even if you can't join every day of the meditation. So it's going to be starting on August 7th. And ending on the solar eclipse on August 21st. Every day, a different spiritual teacher, meditation teacher, or astrologer will do a quick talk, and then we'll go into a meditation. It's going to be that oasis for you to just tap in and tune into that vision that you have for the world and the role that you want to play, and really just plant those seeds and harness this energy for, what we're saying is anchoring that vibration of love for the planet. So it's yours, it's available to you, and it's starting on Monday. So I can't wait to be connecting with you in that kind of space. Every meditation is going to end with some musical inspiration. We have musical artists who are donating their music to the event because they believe in what we're doing and they think it's a really good thing and they want to be a part of it. So there's going to be great music. So if you want to extend it into an hour and just sit and listen to the music, you can do that too. And like I said earlier, it's totally free to join, but if you do want to purchase the recordings, get the downloads of the musical tracks, you can do that. And it's $97 and 100% of the profits are going to go towards Ivy Child. So that is a very exciting event for us. For me, it feels so heart-based and so aligned with what I feel I'm here to do. So hopefully it'll help all of you to really tune into that aspect for yourself. If you don't already feel connected with it, maybe you do, and you're just contributing to the energy of the group, the collective. So, and we're shooting for 40,000 people for this event because normally about 20% of the people show up live, which would be about 8,000 people, which if you've paid attention to any of Greg Braden's work, he did the research to find that the square root of 1% of the population of the planet is what's required to make a shift or to make a real big impact on the consciousness. So luckily he did the math for that, and it's about 8,000 people. So if we have 8,000 people showing up live and really seeding that intention together, we can make a difference. I mean, we can make a difference if there's 2 people. I totally believe that. But with 8,000, we could make a really big impact. So if you're interested in joining, the links in the chat, you can share it with your friends, with your family, anyone who you think would be interested in contributing their energy to this event. So, all right. Julija, are you going to join us? I hope.
Yes. Well, sorry, just let me get it right. It's every day for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Depends what time of day for me.
I know. So it's 1:00 Pacific.
Yeah. Okay.
What time in Australia? That'd be like
5 in the morning or something.
Ah, nice way to start your day, right?
Yeah. But you the Americans, I think as a collective, yes, very good. The more the better, because I mean there is this the whole kind of shift idea where the collective intention or mind, I mean this is what I've been kind of thinking of in my own head is the astronomers call it the astrosphere. So we can't really call it the astrosphere, but the cosmosphere where all astrologers are aligned with what's going on is something that I'm working on. So, I mean, it's the idea of the cosmic intelligence anyway, that, those of us that are into this cosmic intelligence have an alignment together. Mm-hmm. And so we can affect that, yes. Like, there's the atmosphere and the stratosphere and whatever, and then there's the cosmosphere. as we call it. So or the noosphere, sorry, that's what I'm thinking of, the noosphere, the mind sphere. And we are affecting that all the time. So yeah, believe that we can do and affect that, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Julia, thank you so, so much for your time, for your energy, for your contribution, for everything you're doing at the CIA. It's
Thank you.
inspiring and you're doing great work. So thank you so much for that.
Thanks,
And
Amanda. Good luck, and we'll
thank
be in
you.
touch. All
All
right.
right. All right. Thanks
Well
everybody for
done.
tuning in and for making astrology a part of your life. We'll see you. This week is packed with Facebook Live. So sign up for live alerts if you want to know when we're live with different astrologers this week. So thank you so much. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.